Well, hello, I'm Nola and welcome to my channel, Intuitive Nola. Today is Sunday, May 31st, 2026, and I'm still here in the Netherlands. If this is your first time, I welcome you and I hope that you'll stay a while. If you are a regular, thank you so much and I appreciate you being here. So today I would like to talk about something that I think many of us carry quietly, and that is looking for validation. That has been a little bit of the story of my life, and I've been thinking a great deal about validation. And as I've said, I wrestled with this myself. And perhaps you have too. Have you ever replayed conversations in your mind or overthought stuff? Have you evaluated yourself at the end of the day and wondered if you had performed well enough? Or did you think, what did they think of me? Did I say the right thing? Are you questioning yourself about whether you said the right thing or whether you did enough? And perhaps the deeper question has been, am I enough? It's something I've struggled with off and on throughout my life. And I think many of us carry that question more deeply than we may care to admit. And the truth is, there's nothing unusual about that. We are human beings after all. And we all want to be seen. We all want to feel connected. We want to belong. That's just part of human nature. And let me say something that I think is important. Validation itself is not the enemy. Encouragement matters. Wise counsel matters. And love matters, most importantly. There have been moments in my own life where I needed someone who loved me to remind me of who I was when I had temporarily forgotten. So this is not a conversation about becoming hard or pretending we need no one. No, that couldn't be the farthest thing from the truth. Validation is not the enemy. Dependency on it is where the problem begins. When approval becomes oxygen, oh my God, and in my younger days and not so long ago, I was constantly looking for approval and validation. When I was looking to outsource perhaps my permission to live, and perhaps we are living in a time where this has become especially difficult. Everywhere we look, beloved, there is comparison. Bodies, body shaming has been since the beginning of time. The home you may live in, how much money you have, your success, or for those of us who are on YouTube and other platforms, followers, achievements, perfect lives, yes, and for me, saying the perfect lines, perfect timelines and perfect expectations. Let's not forget that. We often feel by 30-something, I should be at a certain place in my life where you should be. By 40, I should have done this, or you should have done this. You should have accomplished that. By now, I should have accomplished more. And if I haven't, or if you haven't, perhaps there's something wrong with me. Or you may be thinking, perhaps there's something wrong with you. I think many people carry that private ache, no matter how successful they may appear to be to you and I. And perhaps some of us are much harder on ourselves than we would ever dare to be with someone we love. And perhaps this shows up in quieter ways than we realize. We may be speaking with our sisters or our friends or people we know and hear things like, have you seen so-and-so? Gosh, she has really aged. Have you seen him? How much weight he's put on? He looks He's almost unrecognizable. Or she looks tired. What happened to her? And perhaps we have even said such things ourselves at times. And but what we often do not see, beloved, is the story underneath. And that is what I want to speak about today. The stress, the grief, the sleepless nights, the medications, yes, the caregiving. If you've ever had to care for a loved one, and your own personal health struggles, my own personal health struggles, the silent battles that so many of us, so many of you, or that I may be carrying, and how quickly we can reduce a human being to appearance while knowing nothing of what their body or their spirit has been trying to survive. And perhaps this is true in other areas of life as well. Sometimes you look at people and quietly wonder, why are they not farther along? You know, I've looked at young women and men who were in the same class as me in high school, who were brilliant. When I've seen them, I've wondered, I've been guilty of this. I've wondered, wow, they were so brilliant. Why didn't they pursue what they said they were going to pursue? Why aren't they farther along in their lives? And that has been my judgmental ways. And I've quietly wondered those things, and it's not good. But what I forgot, what I never considered, that life is really lived in straight lines. We know nothing about what someone else is carrying or the things that they have survived. We make plans, we have hopes, we have dreams and timelines, and then life has the audacity to be life, right? Sometimes it interrupts, sometimes it detours us. We go down detours we never imagined, we couldn't possibly have imagined. And our best laid plans, hopes, dreams, and desires may have to travel through grief, through loss, through health struggles, or seasons we never anticipated. Perhaps the loss of a child for many of you, or some of you. I have not, fortunately, ever known what it has felt like to lose a child, but I've lost other people. And so I couldn't tell you, for those of you who have lost a child, how you should feel or what that feels like. And perhaps that is why compassion matters so much, because we rarely know what another person has had to survive. I know I said that, so I'm repeating myself. And remember those New Year's resolutions that we make? Well, I cottoned on in my late 30s or very early 40s that it didn't work for me. But perhaps you made a New Year's resolution, and tomorrow is the 1st of June, 2026, and you're beating yourself up because you have abandoned those resolutions that you made. And that's not because you are lazy. I promise you, I need you to see this. It's not because you're lazy. It is because life probably threw things at you that you didn't expect. And the inner voice can be so harsh. Perhaps your inner voice has turned harsh, cruel even. See, it will say, you never follow through. You always fail. Who were you kidding? And most of all, who did you think you are? Or who do you think you are? And sometimes the harshest voice is not outside of us at all. Sometimes it is the voice we've allowed to live inside our heads for goodness knows how long, right? And perhaps for some of us, that voice began a long time ago, when we were criticized harshly or made to feel that nothing we did was ever quite enough. But wherever that voice came from, we do not have to let it become the permanent narrator of our lives. You and I have spoken before about being in the hallway, for feeling for the panels on the wall, for trying to find the doorway. And life is not always certainty and bright lights. Sometimes we are simply in the hallway. And perhaps that is more normal than we realize, because the truth is, no one has it all figured out, no matter how it may appear. No one. And I think so much of what we call confidence is often people simply learning to move forward while still uncertain. And the difference is not whether we experience self-doubt. We all do. The difference is how we respond to it. Because many dreams do not die from lack of talent. They die on the sidelines, on the benches, waiting for certainty, waiting for permission, or waiting for unanimous approval. And beloved, look at this. How many books remain unwritten? Right? Your dreams to write that book, or a few books, maybe a series. How many channels never begin? And how many of us postpone healing or a chance for joy because we are still waiting for someone else to bless what your own spirit already knows? Yes, your own spirit knows this. You know this. And this is where discernment becomes important. Be careful whose voice you place inside your head. And be thoughtful about taking direction from people who have never been able to risk or stretch or pursue growth themselves. Often I found myself going to people who had never pursued growth themselves. Not because they are bad people. Perhaps they were older and I thought they would have more wisdom. They could help to guide me a little bit, to encourage me, to tell me I was going to be all right, but that didn't happen. But because fear often speaks fear, sometimes people genuinely love us and still cannot imagine the life we are being called toward. And there will always be someone who finds fault. There will always be that person, believe me, with what I'm doing, with what you're doing, with what we are doing, what they are doing. Okay? And if criticism is inevitable, perhaps the question becomes, will I live according to anticipated judgment or according to my values and purpose? And at 60-something years old, there's one thing I've learned. If there's one thing I've learned, it is this. Oh my gosh. No one is coming to rescue me from my own life. And that's not harshness. That's accountability. I must participate in my own healing, my own growth, my own becoming. And this is why I'm here to encourage you today, to recognize it for what it's worth. You have to be a participant. You've got to get off the sidelines and off the benches and off of the pages of naysayers and just do it. You'll never know unless you try. Yes, failure is part of life. You know, and there's no other person who can do that work for you or for me or for us. They may love you and I. They may encourage you and I. They may walk beside you and I. And I've had people who have walked beside me and encouraged me, and thank God for that. But the responsibility for my life, the responsibility for your life, ultimately belongs to me. The responsibility for your life ultimately belongs to you. And perhaps that is why I'm sharing this today. Not because I have all of the answers, not because I want to lecture you. Please, beloved, this is not a lecture. Not because I've mastered this. Oh my God. That is the farthest thing from the truth. But because I'm still learning too, I still need to grow. I am still a work in progress. And from my own experience, and perhaps you have experienced this too, please tell me in the comments how you handle things like this. I would genuinely love to know, because I do not believe we walk these hallways alone. And perhaps you do not need unanimous approval to begin. Perhaps you only need enough courage to take one honest step, and there's something delightful about doing that first step. You know, that saying, every mile begins with the first step. And so stop waiting for perfection or permission. Just do you. And if you're still in the hallway like me, trying to find the doorway or the panel that will open up, I would love to hear from you, seriously. And if you're still here, thank you for staying. I must always remind you and myself to be kind to yourself. Nourish yourself, hydrate, take care of your soul, take care of your spirit, take care of your body. You know, the weather has been fantastic here in the Netherlands, and from my understanding from people that I know and work with and so on, that this is unusual. It's been really warm. So I've been taking more walks in the park with my dog. And so go out in nature if you are able to. If it's going to get cold where you are, keep yourself moving by dancing in the kitchen. I've always said kitchens were made for dancing. And if you're afraid to step out and do what you know your soul is called to do, just try it, beloved. Most people won't even care. Seriously, people are so busy with their own stuff. And those that do criticize, perhaps it's because you're holding up a mirror to them and showing them what they could do, but they don't have the courage to, so they would rather criticize you. It's better to have tried and failed than never to have tried at all. And be kind to those you meet along the way, because so many are dealing with difficult things that you and I know nothing about. If you would like, I'd love you to hit the like button. Subscribing is free. It helps the channel grow. And if you feel that this video will help someone you know, please consider sharing. Until the next time, take care and bye for now.